Hello, my name is Arshad Adam. I'm a specialist in performance management. Today's lecture, we are looking at Advanced Performance Management, ACCA paper P5, and this will be the first integrated learning lecture. Many aspects of this paper P5, Advanced Performance Management, as you know, we have covered quite a number of areas, and there is a need for you to start realizing how we bring these different aspects together. The exam, being at a professional level, the exam is quite clear in terms of setting situations or scenarios. So it's important that at this higher level that you are able to bring together your different knowledge from different papers, your earlier studies in F5, performance management, F9, financial management, and your P3, business analysis. All these form initial important knowledge for your P5. And you have seen that we have done quite a number of lectures that brought these earlier studies together and then looked at them from a strategic cost management perspective. To be able also at this level to integrate all of that knowledge is important because it helps you understand the practice, because the practical application is very integrated. You don't have one aspect standing on one area, but many of them coming together. And also finally, integrative thinking is required when you actually go to the exam for your own ability to answer questions, and firstly for your understanding, and obviously for passing the exam. So today what we are going to mainly look at is three areas that you have studied in this paper and before, some of it. The first will be the product life cycle. We know from earlier studies, from our earlier lectures, that when we do life cycle costing, we look at the life cycle of a product. But the way we look at the life cycle of the product is not from that marketing aspect when you introduce a product in the market, but we realize that a product has a cost life cycle. And that cost life cycle starts even before the first unit is produced and brought to the market. That stage, as you well know from our previous lectures, is called the development stage, where we design, we develop, there's engineering costs, there are a lot of costs incurred at that stage. In life cycle costing, we recognize that these costs are very important and should not be neglected, should not be removed. So as a result, we take all of these costs of developing and designing the product and add that to the unit cost, and we call that the life cycle cost of the product. The third aspect that you learn in another area of the syllabus under pricing is that we have a number of pricing strategies as to how we can price a product in the market. You have things like price skimming, you have a lot of other aspects of pricing. The one that I mentioned just now, which is price skimming, is where you launch the product, as you remember, as you launch a product at a high price initially. It is very much used for electronic products. So you could find it being used by companies as reputable as Sony, as Nokia, and all these companies. You will also remember that many of these products, when they are first brought to the market, they are priced at a quite high level. That's a launch price. Now, let's integrate. You get your product life cycle, which is very important for us to consider in life cycle costing. In fact, we extend it in the cost life cycle, and we get a life cycle cost of a product per unit. Then we realize that we need to be able to recover those design and development costs of the product. Now, what most of the companies I mentioned earlier do is to try to recover this cost over the first 1 or 2 years of the product life cycle. So what they do, they tend to enter the market by using price skimming. Okay, so you now have a very interesting example or how we can integrate different parts of what you have learned so far. Since this is performance management at an advanced level, we need to look at some of the figures that can be put together to give you a more complete idea of how this can work. Please join me in my class for a good example of how we can do this. Thank you.